And now the presentation is a short insight into the Hungarian language policy, dreams and realities. Well, you can see this motto, well, it has been translated into quite a few languages. And the first slide you can see that language policy covers the following areas. I think we all know this, so I don't want to speak about this. But the second one, no, it's the third one. No, okay, that's the second one. Our main concern as far as language policy is concerned, I think that language is taught at schools. In Hungary, it is of vital importance. So the questions are the following. How many languages to be taught? That's a very important question because, as we all know, Hungary or Hungarian is not a widely spoken language, unfortunately. Then the second question is when to start teaching languages. It's again very important, and okay, that's all right. Because sociologists, psychologists, language teachers have very, I would say, harsh debate on when to start language teaching at all, at the age of, say, 6 or 5 or 10 or, you know. And of course the finance department or the finance people decide, unfortunately. Another important question to my mind is at what school type, what languages should be taught? Compulsory or optional? It's again a question because, okay, you can say that you should learn one foreign language, say, from the age of 8. Or you can choose. So it's again a very fishy question. There was an idea thought of that it would be very good to learn 2 languages, 2 Western European sort of languages, and 1 language of the neighboring countries. And of course nothing came out of this project, unfortunately. And of course the problems of teacher training, I think it's another matter now, and the teaching materials. In Hungary, yes? Yeah, that is in Hungary we have the national curriculum, and it lays down the following: the number of languages, which is minimum 2, then the requirements to be achieved by the end of the primary and secondary school. By the end of the primary school, A2 level is required, is the first language, is the 8th grade. By the end of the secondary school, the same language, mind you, it's B1. The number of years to be taught, which is 9 years altogether, which is quite something, I would say. And you can see the first language starts at the 4th grade and the second at the 9th grade. It's again very strange that our pupils study or learn, for that matter, 9 years. And I've read in one of the books which was speaking about statistics or writing about statistics, and they said that they have altogether during the 9 years 948 lessons. To be honest, I haven't counted, so I don't know whether it's true or not, but it's again quite something. And in spite of this fact, it's terrifying, I would say, how ineffective our language teaching is. So now the whys come, and the problems. Well, one of the problems is the number of lessons, which is either 2 or 3, which is, we all know that it's really nothing. The choice of languages, well, it's again problematic, because you wouldn't believe it, but everybody wants to learn English, of course. And slowly but surely Europe is becoming, or has already become, a monolingual place, with English the dominating and prevailing language. And the other thing is, if poor kids wanted to learn another language, then the parents say what? No, English is off. Yes, English is number 1. So you are, of course I'm exaggerating now a bit, but you are not allowed to learn any other but English. Then the books, believe it or not. The books are a problem in Hungary because on the one hand they are very expensive, but that's another thing. But these books are usually written by foreign authors, and Hungarian belongs to a different language family. So grammar-wise, you can imagine that it's a, well, I wouldn't say it's a complete chaos, but tends to be. Then the teachers. Sorry to say, but not all the teachers are very good, language-wise, I mean. And the reason, one of the reasons for this is, you might know that Russian was compulsory up to the change of regime, 1989. and there were quite a few Russian teachers. Then it ceased to be. Okay, then there were quite a few Russian teachers, mainly women. What on earth can we do with them? Yeah? Either they are sacked, fired, or there was a retraining program. So there are quite a few retained teachers, and I must say that from good Russian teachers, they became not that good English, German, and French teachers. So it is a problem even today. Then the children, quite a few are not motivated, yeah? Or they are not interested, or lazy. Because there is a tendency, and I'm sure not only in Hungary, but the world over, that school is a place where you can have the time of your life. It's very good to have, yeah, you feel yourself well, and that's okay. Huh? And kids have different mental abilities, and that's true again. And even I would blame sort of the methods as well, but again, in our case, the good old grammar translation method would be useful sometimes, as far as Hungarian language is concerned. Yeah, so these are the problems. And now my wishes or dreams are, well, teaching should be realized in small groups at every level. I'm absolutely convinced that it would mean something, even at adult education. That's a very good initiative in Hungary. This language teaching should start at the kindergarten. Of course, it wouldn't be teaching proper. This is a very interesting initiative. We have bilingual kindergartens, only in English, unfortunately, where they have, the structure is sort of tandem-like, but not really, because it's, of course, not the same. The kids have two teachers, kindergarten teachers, I mean, one Hungarian and one native, in this case, English. And I just didn't imagine how on earth it can work. So what type of structure is that? And once I visited a kindergarten like this, and you know, I was shocked positively. So it was a positive stress, not a negative one. I was just gaping. Kids were 4 or 5. They could communicate in English, just as the English would say, you could have knocked me down with a feather, you know, gaping. And the thing is, the Hungarian kindergarten teacher says something, menjetek ki az udvarra, jó idő van játszani. Yeah? And then, yeah, and the native speaker says, yeah, says the same immediately. Go to the yard because the weather is nice now, blah, blah, blah. And it does work. It was just, you know, fascinating. Of course, there are not too many bilingual kindergartens. There are, thank God, there are some primary schools, and as far as I know, only one secondary school. So there is no succession. That's the problem, no? And the problem is money, because, of course, the English native teachers, they have to be paid for the job they do. Again, I have this motto by Plato that all learning is best done as play, and again, coming back to kindergarten, because I think that some language, nursery rhymes, riddles, etc., could be at kindergartens as well, just to make kids realize that there is more than Hungarian, no? Just to feel an other language. And at the junior section of the primary school, 1, 2, or 3 lessons, of course not lesson proper, and then at least 4 lessons at the senior section. Problem again, you can read it. I don't want to repeat the word money again, because it's really, really terrible. At secondary schools, that was a very good initiative, back to the 60s, mind you, but there were these specialized language classes, which meant they had foreign language lessons every day. Well, I myself attended a class like that, and it's quite okay. Then, there are bilingual classes where there were, I would say, because the number is decreasing, unfortunately. Bilingual classes where certain subjects are taught in the foreign language, at best all the subjects, except, of course, the mother tongue. Then, there were, again, language prep courses for 1 year. So before they start secondary education, they attend the school and they have only language, which is, again, a very good initiative, was. And is a very good initiative. They had at least 12, 15, or sometimes even 20 lessons per week. which is something. Yeah? Then another option could be extracurricular activities. By this I mean, for example, I don't know whether you use this study circle. By study circle I mean that in the afternoon it's a loose get-together, they can listen to each other talk, watch films and things like that. Or pupils exchange, like Erasmus but on a lower level of course. Or excursion to the target language country, problem again the same, unfortunately. Again, proverb, there is nothing new under the sun from the Bible. And I'll tell you later, a bit later why it is there. I was just dreaming a possible structure for secondary grammar schools, trilingual Europe, yeah? At the age of 10, Latin, at the age of 12, German, and at the age of 14, English, French, Italian, or whatever, so it's a sort of optional thing. And believe it or not, this structure was introduced in Hungary for secondary grammar school in 1926.
I believe that.
Yes. Yeah, another structure could be, but the motto is not there, but I'm just saying that it could be 2 languages for everybody. The first language should be compulsory, starting at the age of 9 or 10, and it could be English or German. And the second language could be optional. Of course, it depends on if you have the teachers, etc. So it's again a very complicated thing. Before this, you might ask that, okay, once having done with public education, why don't you speak about tertiary education? Well, I have 2 reasons for that. One is, if all these dreams came true, then there would be an ideal situation in tertiary education. Yes, every single student could speak, or would have a good command of at least 2 languages, so why bother to speak about it? But the second and sad reason is no language policy at higher education, believe it or not. I have been looking high and low really for finding something, and the only thing I could find is the requirement, of course, without the way getting to the requirement. The requirement is after the, no, not after, but by the end of bachelor's degree, they have to have B2 level 1 language, that's it. Master's degree, the institution itself can decide if wants another exam or not, but B2 is enough. But while looking for different materials, I found a very, very good book, Language Policy in Higher Education, which was published in 2014 in December, so it's brand new, it's not on the board. And there I could find, it's a very good summary you can find on the net, and I could find a very good sentence. In fact, it's a question. To what extent is English really pushing other languages out of the academic environment? No? And so the greatest question is, okay, it's sort of a joke, must really everybody know 1 foreign language at all? And before you start thinking of giving an answer, allow me to read one of my half-minute stories, which is again a sort of an answer to this question. And the title is Knowledge of Languages. Everybody in the family worked as a lawyer, his parents, grandparents, great-grandfather. He read law too, but he loved languages, and as if a hobby, he got a degree as a teacher of German and English languages. But he did his practice, his law practice, at a very famous lawyer's office. Arriving there, the first question was what he knew. Well, you know, I can speak English, German, Russian, and French quite well, he said. Well, my boy, sorry to say, but there is no need for this in this office. Thank you for your attention.